Hello everyone, so I'm trying something new today. This is my very first Q&A video. I've been watching a lot of YouTubers and a lot of musicians do Q&A videos lately, and I really like watching them. If it's someone I like following, I like their content, I really enjoy watching their videos to get to know them a little better and hear what they have to say regarding a lot of different questions. So after watching this video, if you like the idea of this Q&A video, let me know if you'd like me to do it again. This is a pre-recorded video, and that's the format I do for all my YouTube videos. That's just kind of what I'm used to doing. But I know a lot of people do live Q&As as well. So after watching this, like I said, if you are interested in seeing a live Q&A next time, let me know down in the comments. And if you are interested in seeing a live Q&A, let me know if you prefer, like which platform you prefer, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. I probably won't be able to do them all because I only have so many devices with me. So here we go. I have my laptop here. I'm gonna be reading through your questions. So first question is from F. Horn Patrick. And if you don't know F. Horn Patrick yet, he's an awesome YouTuber. He makes French horn videos. They're super fun. So go check out his channel right now. Anyway, so F. Horn Patrick, what is inspiring you to make new music? So right now, I'd say the thing that's definitely inspiring me to make new music, new content, new videos, is the fact that, as like a lot of you right now, I don't have anything else to do. You know, I'm not really a big TV person. There's nowhere to go. You know, I don't want to just like sit around all day and do nothing. So, you know, creating content and working on new music is definitely my way that I'm kind of coping with this whole coronavirus, COVID-19 thing. As well as it's a way for me to socialize. You know, when I'm creating content and new music, new videos, I'm getting to talk to people and, you know, hear your comments, and we have this conversation back and forth on social media. And then also when I'm doing collaborations with other musicians, you know, it's all those, you know, text messages and emails and phone calls and Zoom calls, like getting to have that interaction with other musicians. So I think in like the short answer to that is just people. People are inspiring me to make new music during this time. So thank you for your question. The next question comes from @socks11111, who's my friend Chelsea Thompson. What is your all-time favorite show you've ever performed in? I would say my favorite show I've ever performed in was in 2018, One Piece Oto Utage. It was a show in Japan. We performed in Tokyo, and it was based off all of the music from the One Piece anime series. And before I was in the show, I had never really watched One Piece or knew anything about it, but the music was super fun. I didn't really know what to expect getting involved with this show, but the music was so much fun. It was so catchy. It was so upbeat. It was so exciting. And then I really kind of fell in love with the story of One Piece. It's just like a really great story. Also, the cast of that show was awesome. Everyone got along really well, and we just had a really fun time in Tokyo that summer. So I would definitely say that was my favorite show. Okay, next. This is from @GospelBones. So his question is, in freelance, how far out do you know about a gig? This is a really good question. So I have had a huge range of this throughout my career. I would say like the most in advance I've ever found out about a gig was probably about 8 months. I don't know if I've ever found out about anything like over that or like up to a year, but definitely 8 months. And this is for like larger production shows or tours, like something that lasts for months. You know, something that involves a contract, something that, you know, involves a lot of your time. So for those like bigger type shows, I'd say anywhere, you know, from like the 6 to 8 month range for those. Then probably below that, like stuff with bands or maybe something that you're a member of. Like if you're the only person who can fill that spot because it's like with a group. I would definitely say that's more in the like couple month range. You know, anywhere from like 1 month to maybe 3 or 4 months. And then I would say if it's stuff for like a side man gig, I hate to say that, side person gig, where you're just kind of filling in or you're just reading a book, or it's a kind of gig where like really any player could do it, you know, where they could have any number of players like kind of fill in. for those, I would say that like that's like the least amount of time. I've gotten calls actually like day of or one day before. We're like, hey, can you come fill in for this band? Like, we need you here. In all reality, anywhere from like 2 hours up to like 8 months I've experienced. So it's really just kind of depends on the gig. I have to get some water, hold on. Okay, next question comes from Patrick C. Sullivan. Would you like to do a collaboration? So I am always available for doing collaborations. I love collaborating with other musicians, as I kind of mentioned earlier. If you want to do a collaboration with me, please send me a DM. Tell me about your idea, what you want to do, and then also any links that you have to maybe your YouTube channel or any of your playing, just so I can kind of get an idea of what you do, and we can talk through it. So if you're interested in collaborating with me, send me a message. Let's talk. Next, let's see here. I'm going to slaughter this pronunciation, sorry. This is from Nicholas Ortiz Kovalek. He says, what is your biggest dream or goal? So I'll have to admit, this is always changing for me. I mean, my life goal, especially like career-wise with music, I just want to be at a place where, you know, I love where I'm living and I have consistent work all the time and just a great quality of life. I know that's kind of vague, but one of my more recent goals or dreams is definitely to have my own album, you know, start creating my own original music. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to doing in the future. That's a big goal of mine right now. Next is from Benjamin Milazzo. What is the reference of your trombone, your mouthpiece? I assume you mean what is the recommendation of your trombone or your mouthpiece? I have a lot of different trombones at home, but right now I only have one with me. It's back there, my King 3B. So I think my recommendation for trombone really depends on what kind of music you're playing. I play mostly commercial kind of music. So for that, I love my King 3B. I think it's a really great all-around horn. You know, it can be used for lead playing if you need it to, but also it's not small enough to where you can still get down lower in the horn if you need to, but it does not have an F attachment. So that's just kind of depends what kind of music you're playing. But for anything like commercial tenor trombone, it's my opinion, I don't really think you need an F attachment. So I'd say that's definitely my recommendation for the more commercial side of things. For more orchestral style playing, I have a Con 88 HTO. And I like it okay. It's gotten me through, you know, everything I've needed to get me through. I use that horn a lot when I'm doing pit orchestra gigs, because for the pit orchestra stuff, you really have the whole range of the instrument. You're playing up in the lead, you know, the lead register, and then you also have a lot of like bass trombone stuff sometimes too, so you'll need an F attachment. I guess that's what I would recommend because those are the two I use the most. But there are a lot of great trombones out there, so it's just, you know, whatever works for you. And as far as mouthpieces go, I'm actually pretty simple with my mouthpieces. I haven't gotten into a lot of custom stuff or expensive mouthpieces. For my King 3B, if I'm playing like lead stuff, high stuff, I just like a box 6.5 AL. And then if I am doing something, maybe that's more in the third trombone register where I need to, you know, get into those lower notes, I like to play on a Bach 5GS just because the mouthpiece is a little larger. So that would be my recommendation there. For my con horn, my large bore tenor, I just use a Bach 5G. Like I said, pretty simple. I haven't really got too big into the gear stuff, so yeah. All right, next is from Kimberly Schneider. This was an interesting question. If you could go and live in a new country every 2 years, would you? If so, what order would you want to do that in as you get older? If you would have asked me this question maybe 4 or so years ago, I would have said yes, like hands down all the way. I love traveling. I love going to other countries. But some of you may know I've been living in Japan for the past 4 years. And so now after having that experience, I would answer this question, no, I wouldn't want to live in a new country every 2 years. I love Japan. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But when you live in a foreign country, it's a lot harder to find work. There are a lot of challenges with that. Obviously, the language barrier is huge. So if you're living in a different country, in order to work, especially for what I do as a freelance musician, you're gonna have to learn a new language. You know, you can't function in a society and especially be a freelancer if you can't speak to people. So that's a huge challenge, as well as when you live in a different country, you're gonna have to, it's not just the language, it's also a lot of cultural stuff. You're gonna have to learn the culture, you're gonna have to learn the business practices, you're just gonna have to learn how to function in a completely different setting. So it's like, from the excitement side of it, the answer to that question is yes. I think it would be really cool to live in another country every 2 years. But from like a business working perspective, definitely not. There are a lot of challenges there. So overall, I'd have to say the answer to that would be no. All right, so next up, I got a few questions from Chavi Castella. Again, I probably butchered that pronunciation. Sorry, Chavi. So he asked me quite a few questions. I'm gonna pick a few of them that kind of go together, but the rest of them I will save for another video. So, first question. Do you produce and edit by yourself all of your videos? I mean the ones on which you play alone, at least, like Star Wars. Okay, so the answer to that question is yes, I do produce and do all the editing on most of my videos. There have been a few exceptions, which I wrote these down. The latest Billie Eilish one I did with my friends Seth Gorey and Jeff Haddish. My friend Seth did the audio editing for that because he made the track. Since he made a custom track for us, it was just easier for him to do the audio editing on his end. And he does all that stuff a lot more than I do, so he did a great job. Other than that, let me see. I had a few a cappella projects. This is Halloween that Jeff Harrigan did. And then what else here? Oh, the Song for Health, where I did the trombone quartet. Ben Owens took care of that. And then the Star Spangled Banner version that's on my channel, that's actually, I'm not in. It was when we were still making videos under the slideshow name. My husband, Patrick Chappell, did the audio editing for that one. So besides those few exceptions, yes, I do all the audio editing and video editing myself. Okay, next question. How do you get to transcribe all the tracks before recording? It must take a lot of time, at least to transcribe them to your instrument. Yes, it takes a whole lot of time. It's very time consuming, but I enjoy doing it, so I don't mind. It's, you know, a hobby of mine, so I like doing it. And I also like doing it because I like playing music that I want to play. I feel, especially like as trombonists or other band type instruments, you know, if we only played music that we could find, like written music, we really don't have a whole lot of good music to choose from. So that's why I've always been interested in transcribing and writing my own tunes to play. So how do I do it? I usually transcribe totally from ear, actually. I just find a video on YouTube or I download the album and I just listen to it and pick out the parts that I want to do and transcribe. I mean, the quartet version is usually the simplest to do. You know, obviously the first thing I transcribe is I listen to the melody. You know, so I get the melody down and then I decide on the form of the song that I want, whether I want to keep the original form or change it up. So definitely melody and form first, and then I do the bass line. And then I kind of just fill in stuff from there. Maybe fill out some harmonies, maybe fill out some other instruments or other interesting things I want to catch. I'm trying to do more trombone quartets these days because the quartet is just, you know, it's just it's an ensemble that already exists, you know, trombone quartet. So a lot of people are looking for music for that specific instrumentation. But as you've probably seen in a lot of my videos, they have like 5 parts or 6 parts or 8 parts. I find transcribing for quartet sometimes to be limiting because it's like, oh, I want to put more notes in there. So I'm definitely going to challenge myself to try to do more quartets. Well, we'll see if that happens. So yeah, I usually transcribe totally by ear, but sometimes I've been doing this a little more recently on some projects I have coming up. It's sometimes a time saver if you can find like some chords online or some pre-existing sheet music. A lot of times there's like a piano like sheet music out there, or just even if it's just a chord progression, a lot of guitar websites, you know, at least have the chords written out. So sometimes if I can find something like that, it at least gives me a head start. But I mostly do by ear, but if I do look for the music, I've been liking musescore.com lately. So if you transcribe, I don't know, check it out. You might find, you know, an arrangement already on there. Like I said, usually it's just piano, but it could just at least give you a place to start. So that works too. All right, and then the last question from Chavi. In the case you record and edit your own material, I guess your first videos did not look as great as the new ones. Do you still have those first videos around? Well, I mean, that's very true. So I've been doing the YouTube channel now for, I guess maybe 2.5 years, I think. But I really haven't started taking it seriously. It was when I got back from the last Blast tour in October. And that's when I decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try to post very frequently and just get a lot more videos going. So it's super true that my beginning videos do not look as good as they do now. I think that's true for like any YouTuber. I mean, you go back on their channel and you look at their past videos, and obviously the new ones are way better. Usually people have updates in equipment as they go. You know, you start updating your audio, you get new microphones, you start updating your video, you learn more about lighting. I mean, it's just that progression. And that's kind of one of the things I really enjoy about doing this the most, is because it's like each video, I view each video as an improvement on the last one. Like after each video I make, I always learn something, and then I strive to make it better in the next one. That's always my goal. Like each video should look better than the last one. And if I go back a year, I would hope that my videos look better than they used to, because, you know, I learn so much from every one I do. Okay, so the next question is from Asare George. I'm a trombonist. How can I be a professional trombonist like you? Well, in order to be a professional, I guess my advice would be start acting like a professional. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, you know, what does that mean? But there's this phrase that I love to go back to a lot. It's called fake it until you make it. So the idea of faking it until you make it, if you want to be a professional, you have to start doing things that professionals do every day, which I guarantee you is practice and maintaining their skills. You know, you have to practice every day. You have to be striving to get better every day. Other things, if you want to be a professional, especially in this day and age, I would certainly say start, you know, having an online presence, somewhere where people can find you, somewhere where you can share your music. At least from a business perspective too, you have to have at least some of that set up. So yeah, practicing like professional, making your online presence look professional. And then other than that, I would say you have to know what the standard is. So depending on what kind of professional you want to be, you know, do you want to be a freelancer? Do you want to play in an orchestra? Do you, you know, want to be a soloist? Like, you know, what do you want to do? And then when you know what kind of player you want to be, I mean, you need to be aware of the players in your area. You know, if you want to be a freelancer in a certain city, then you need to know who those other freelancers are in that city. Know what the standard is, know how, you know, what their playing level is, and you need to work to get up to that level. So definitely, like, you can reach out to them, you can ask for lessons, you can just start going to shows and getting involved in your community around town. So it's like the more people from that community you surround yourself with, the more you're gonna learn what they do, how they act, you know, what their practice schedule's like, how they get gigs, all of that. So it's quite a process, but you know, if you're already working on your skills, it's just getting in all that stuff as well. All right, let's see a few more here. This is from @Natsumin130. How was feel that you play Circle live solo on Blast Show? Okay, I'm just gonna reword this a little bit. How did you feel when you were playing the Circle of Life solo in the Blast Show? Okay, so I know this is a fan from Japan who saw Blast So, how I felt. Well, let me just explain. In this past year's Blast Disney show, the Circle of Life from The Lion King opened up with this huge trombone solo, and it was really cool. It was a really cool scene. The soloist stood on the top of all these platforms, and it was actually kind of high up. And so Teo Guthrie was the soloist in Blast this tour, and I was a swing, which meant I filled in his role. And Teo also included like yoga in this. So he held a tree pose while he was playing this solo, which means, you know, I had to try to do that too. And honestly, it was kind of nerve-wracking from that perspective, you know, like being up on this platform on these boxes and then having to play a solo. I also remember it was like totally dark too. So also doing that in the dark, going up on these platforms, trying to like hold a yoga pose. I mean, there was a lot going on there. Definitely something I have never done before. So it was a really cool experience. Actually, a funny story. During one of the shows when I was swinging out Teo and doing that role, there was actually an earthquake that happened while I was up there. But the thing was, it was like I was so concentrated on the solo and the lights and the cues and everything that I didn't even realize it. They almost stopped the show. So that was kind of a crazy memory about playing that solo. All right, next question is from let me try to say this, at Wagamamaimai. Wagamamaimai. I became your fan when I saw you on Blast in Japan. What can I do to cheer you on? Oh, well, first of all, that's super sweet. But the thing you can do to cheer me on, or anyone who wants to cheer me on, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's definitely the #1 way you can support me at this moment in time. So thank you. Ooh, I really like this question. Okay, this is from @TGipper. What do you do to memorize music quickly? So I've actually thought a lot about this question before in the past, just because so many of the gigs that I do require to memorize a lot of music, like a lot of it, like pretty fast. So I kind of came up with some strategies. So I'd say my #1 strategy for memorizing music quickly is listen to it. And try to get your hands on like the exact arrangement that you're going to be playing. You know, if it's like a pop tune or a movie tune or something, I mean, yeah, you can listen to the original to kind of get it in your head, but it's better to have the exact arrangement that you're doing. If that's not available, usually the arranger or whoever sent it to you like might have like a MIDI file of it. Try to get that too. I know it's not like the best quality, but it's gonna work for these purposes. And what I mean by listen to it is don't just like listen to it one time or like listen to it while you're practicing. Like listen to it all the time. For me, when I'm memorizing shows, I'm like working out, I'll go on my run and I will listen to the show while I'm running or while I'm working out or while I'm on the train, while I'm cooking dinner. I mean, just listen, 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 listen. You'll be surprised like how much of that just kind of gets ingrained in your head. Like think about when we learn tunes on the radio or tunes that we can sing. You know, I mean, I have stuff memorized from my childhood because I watched a movie so many times or listened to a pop song so many times. It's kind of the same way with memorizing. The more you listen to it, the more it's just gonna get ingrained in your head. Now, this might not be the best way to like learn every single note, but you're definitely gonna learn the form. And I think that's the most important thing. Like learning the form of the tune, learning the flow, just listen to it as much as you can. After listening to the tune constantly, the other big trick I have for memorizing music quickly is prioritizing. And what I mean by that is I never start at the top and like go to the end. I don't chunk through it like in chronological order. I prioritize. So what I do is the first thing I'm gonna look for, I mean, you all know I'm a trombone player. The first thing I'm gonna look for is there a trombone solo in this song? Is there anything super important that I need to know or I need to play? That's what I'll work on first. If it's a solo or a super exposed part, you better believe like that part has to be perfect. So learn the solo first. Super important. After that, look for any like soli lines or important sections. Like maybe there's a trombone soli that's really important, or maybe your part doubles with another instrument that's really important. Usually melodic content, right? If you know you have the melody, you are the spotlight, your part is important, you need to know that. Also, going back to the listening, it helps you to know where those spots are, and also be aware of when you have parts with other members of the ensemble. So yeah, solos, melodic content, solis, stuff like that. And then after that, I don't know, maybe you have some important harmony parts or things like that. But then being aware too of when you're in unison with a lot of people. If you're in unison with like a lot of people, it's not as important of a part. You know, just know where your important parts are and memorize in that order. So that might not be making you go in chronological order. I hope that makes sense. Now that we're on the topic of memorization, something that does not work for me, or something that I don't really recommend, is the whole, and I know this is like super popular with band directors and school stuff, marching band, is they'll just like start at the top of a tune and be like, okay, go from letter A to letter B, play it once. Okay, turn your stand around. And then like try to play it memorized. Play it once, turn your stand around. That's never really worked for me, and I don't really recommend it. So I guess that's all just what works for you. But yes, definitely listen, and then prioritize your most important spots of the tune. This is from @thank.youth.next. What has been your biggest adjustment going back to the States? So again, I've been living in Japan for the past 4 years, and then I have been in the US now for, I guess, a couple months. Plans have changed, as they have for a lot of us at this moment in time. So when I first came back to the States, I think it was like late January-ish, definitely the #1 adjustment was driving. Living in Japan, you know, I almost never drove, and if I did, it was on the left side of the road. So the cars were set up totally different. You know, I was used to taking the train every single day. So coming back to the States and having to drive, and then also drive on the right side of the road, definitely my first few trips in the car, I was going super slow and I was kind of afraid, and it just kind of getting used to that all again. Yeah, driving and just the transportation in general, you know, I certainly miss the trains and the Shinkansen, and I loved riding my bike a lot and all that. So yeah, driving was definitely weird in the States. All right, I was gonna save these for next time because I already answered some questions from these people, but I don't know, I'm having fun. Might as well just knock them all out. Again, so back to some questions from Chavi Castella or Castella, I don't know. Sorry, Chavi. After publishing a video, do you ever had the feeling you could have done this or that different and it could have sounded better? Yes. Every single video I've ever done. You know, especially since I've gotten into this habit, it's my goal right now to put out a video every week just so I can be creating consistent content. You know, sometimes I'm getting up towards that end of the week deadline, and, you know, I wish I had another day or another 2 days or another week. You know, there's always something that you can improve upon, whether it was, you know, something in your audio recording, something in your editing. Maybe when I'm doing my videos, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have added in a few more shots or a few more cool things if I had another day of filming. But, I mean, that's just not the way it works. I've made the decision to make consistent content, and I just do the best that I can. That's just something that I've chosen to do. I know this is kind of like a hot topic right now among musicians and stuff like that, of really making something perfect and spending so much time on it. You know, if I spent, you know, a month on a video instead of a week, I'm sure, you know, it could always be better. That's the thing. It could always be better. But sometimes done is better than perfect. So I just kind of try to make it the best I can, learn from each video I make, and try to make the next one better. Okay, next question. How many years have you been playing the trombone? I've been playing the trombone since I was 13, so I guess 20 years. Wow, that's a long time. At what age did you start, and how was it feeling? Okay, so I started when I was 13, and when I first started playing trombone, I really loved it. I started kind of learning as I was going into high school to be in marching band. And I was obsessed with marching band when I was younger, so I had a lot of fun. Obviously, trombone's a really loud instrument, so I loved being out on the football field and playing really loud. And also just hanging out with all the other trombone players was really fun. Before I switched to trombone, I actually was a clarinet player. Or so once I switched to trombone, I really enjoyed not only the instrument, but like the people. You know, it was really fun to sit in the back row and hang out with everybody. It was like a different world back there. And I don't know. And even to this day, you know, my best friends are all trombone players. So yeah, felt good. Next question. Do you play any other instrument? So let's see. I mean, professionally, I only play trombone and euphonium. I guess if you want to get technical, you know, trombone, bass trombone, euphonium. And then I actually play trumpet quite a bit when I'm teaching because I realize trombone isn't the most popular instrument in the world, which I wish would change. That's why I'm making these videos. That's one of my goals. I really want to make trombone a more popular instrument, something that's kind of out there a lot more. But since trombone isn't as popular, I also when I teach trumpet students as well. So I can play a little bit of trumpet. Besides that, not really. I mean, I have basic keyboard skills from college, and then I took piano lessons when I was younger, but I don't really keep up with them. So, yeah. All right, and then this is another one from Gospel Bones. What's the most unique trombone you've played, and what specialty horn would you like to add? So, the most unique trombone I've ever played, I can't like really think of one, but like an experience is coming to mind actually. When I was in college, I went to ASU and my trombone professor, Douglas Yo, he would have like a studio party at his house every year. And he had this office and I don't know how many there were, but I think it was like 80 something trombones. It was just like this mountain of cases kind of to the side of his office, and he let us go through and play some of them. And I mean, they were just like crazy trombones in there, like humongous like bass or contrabass trombones, like ones that you had to have like the arm slide. I remember there being a G bass trombone in there, which was obviously like a really weird horn that I had never seen. I can't really remember specific like makes and model numbers. I just remember being totally overwhelmed by the experience and not really knowing that, you know, any of those trombones even existed. So that was a really cool experience. As far as what specialty horns you would like to have or like to add, I definitely want a like soprano trombone, like the little ones that look like trumpets. I think that would be super fun to have. I mean, obviously it's a novelty item. I mean, I could like use it to make some videos, but I don't see it being super useful beyond that. But yeah, that would be fun to have. All right, so thank you everyone for your questions. This was actually a lot of fun. So I hope you got to know me a little better and I was able to help out answering some questions. So definitely let me know down in the comments if you liked this video and you want to see more Q&A videos in the future. If you do, once again, I'm gonna ask, do you prefer pre-recorded like this or doing a live Q&A? If you want live, let me know which platform you prefer, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, or maybe I'll be able to do a combination of those, but probably not all of them. I only have so many devices. But yeah, this was fun. So I will see you next week. And don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Okay, bye. One more thing, I totally forgot to say this, but if you have any other questions for me, please leave them down in the comments and I will save them for my next Q&A video. Thanks.